I'm Bob Gibson, and I'm here to introduce you to the finest negotiation training program ever devised for the professional salesperson. It's a 12-week learning system. It's available in DVD or online format, designed exclusively to train salespeople to negotiate effectively. Now, here's why that's important. There's a difference between selling and negotiating. Your ability to sell determines your gross revenues, but your ability to negotiate determines your profits. See if this sounds familiar. Every sales team I work with has some people like this. I'll call him Joe Pleaser. Joe is a good sales guy. He brings in good business. His clients love him. He services an account to death, and his repeat business is good. But when you crunch the numbers, the margins in Joe's accounts are below where they should be. Does that sound familiar? That's a profile of someone who's a good salesperson, but they're a poor negotiator. And their impact on the profitability of the company will be next to nothing. That's what this program, this learning system, will address. And here's what makes it unique. Let's start with the format. Most training today takes place in 1-day or 2-day segments. A company gathers together a sales team for a day or two, and an expert teaches them techniques and tactics of sales. Sound familiar? It's how things have been done forever. I've done it for years. I've taught negotiation training to salespeople everywhere, here, Europe, Asia, the Middle East, for 20 years. I've met wonderful people and we've had wonderful sessions. But there was a problem. The problem was that they got so much information in such a short period of time that I often wondered how much of the material they really integrated, how many of the concepts, the techniques, and the tools they were using 2 months after the training. Here's what we know. One-shot training has its limitations. My golf game proves that. It doesn't matter how good the teacher or what they're teaching you, one lesson isn't enough to change behavior or acquire new skills. There's too much to absorb in one setting, and one time hearing it just isn't enough. If you could improve behavior with one lesson, everybody's golf game, everybody's tennis game would be good. Here's the truth. In a complicated field like sales and negotiation, there's simply too much to absorb in one setting. So here's what we've done. Negotiating High Profit Sales is the first 12-week modular program ever created dedicated to equip the sales professional with the tools and the techniques they need to compete in today's market. It's available in either a DVD or online format. Every week you'll be exposed to an action-sized portion. New techniques and tactics to be used that week in the field. You'll have a workbook for that week's lesson and access to support if you encounter problems implementing the techniques. The next week, you'll have a quick review and a new lesson with new techniques. Here's a quick rundown of what we'll cover during the 12 weeks. Week 1 will be an overview of the course and exposure to the nibble. It's the most commonly used tactic on salespeople today, so it's a great place to begin. You'll learn what a nibble is, you'll see it role-played, you'll have specific examples of nibbles in the real world. Now there's something in that last sentence that's significant. You'll see it role-played. We live in a very visual world. Between movies, TV, YouTube, we've all been conditioned to receive information visually. A key component in the effectiveness of this program is that you won't just hear about a technique. You'll see it and hear it being performed. This heightens the learning process more than you can imagine. So we'll explain it, we'll demonstrate it, how it's used, what makes it work, what makes it so effective on salespeople. The homework for that week will all revolve around the nibble. The homework is a weekly, here's what you do next action step. By the end of the first week, you'll have an increased level of awareness about what's going on between buyers and sellers. You'll know the most often used technique by buyers and how to spot it. And that leads us to week 2. Week 2 is teaching and explaining the swap out. The technique designed to stop the nibbles forever. You'll learn what it is, you'll see it role-played, you'll have specific examples of exactly how it looks and sounds in the real world. By the way, by the end of the second week, this program will have paid for itself by eliminating the giveaways and the caving in that most salespeople do on a regular basis. Week 3. Week 3 covers 2 tactics, and they're among the most commonly used tactic on salespeople by buyers. Little guy, big guy, and good guy, bad guy. We'll explain them, you'll see them, we'll cover why they work. They'll have specific action steps for that week. Now these, by the way, all these techniques are not just used on salespeople, they can be used very effectively by salespeople. Week 4 is the flint. Buyers use this all the time on salespeople. It's simple, but it works. You'll learn to recognize it, why it works on you, and how to counter it. Week 5 is one of the most important parts of the program, positioning. Positioning is so important. It's the essence of building value, the key to getting out of the commodity box. It's the key to holding price in the face of competition, and it's the key to negotiating well while you maintain good relationships. Week 6 is the sidestep. It's a simple, easy way to change direction in a sales call. Specifically, it's an easy way to get into the positioning factors that we spent last week on. So it's a great way to shift the emphasis back to value. That's where you want it. Once again, you'll hear an explanation of it, you'll hear it, you'll see it, you'll understand how and why it works. We'll also cover silence and the importance of writing. By the end of week 6, we'll have covered the most common tactics used in the sales process. Week 7 focuses on planning. You know, of all the mistakes I see in salespeople negotiating, probably the most common is lack of planning. The How to Negotiate High Profit Sales Planner teaches a salesperson how to plan, how to really plan before a negotiation. It guides you through that minefield of sales negotiation. It helps you avoid mistakes, and most importantly, it shapes the way you think. You'll reach a point where you'll never be ambushed again. I'll walk you through the planner, and you can run off a hard copy in your PDF for that week, as many as you want. Remember, the homework is a weekly, here's what you do next action step. That's part of what makes this program so effective. In week 8, we cover drivers. Understanding what drives people under the surface is a negotiator's stock in trade. Salespeople need to understand drivers, both the buyers and their own. We'll cover the most common, the ones you run into every day, and how they affect the negotiation process. Not only that, we'll teach you a simple process that will allow you to immediately understand the drivers of other people. You'll seem absolutely clairvoyant when you use this simple tool. Week 9 is on moments of truth. Every sales negotiation hinges on these moments of truth. They're the turning points in a negotiation. They often determine the profitability of a deal, and the truth is most salespeople aren't tuned into them at all. Once you become aware of them and how to take charge of them, everything can change. Good sales negotiators are tuned in to these moments of truth in a negotiation. Focusing on them for a period of time can change your ability to see opportunities, to read other people, and to close more sales. In week 10, we'll cover the success formula. It's a proven process that works wonders with buyers. It heads off trouble before it starts, and maybe most importantly, it puts you in charge of the meeting. It's a simple but profoundly effective tool. In week 11, we'll talk about power, and this is the real game. Either you or the buyer is going to be the alpha player here, and you had better understand and be comfortable with power. Where it comes from, how to get more of it, and probably most importantly, how to successfully confront and overcome your buyer's power. Week 12 is a review, it's a wrap-up, it's graduation, and some lessons from my dad. These aren't techniques, they're not tactics. These are nuggets of wisdom that'll serve you well in the trenches when you're head-to-head with buyers leaning on you to cave in and leave the money on the table. You know, you can see this is not a lightweight program. This is not a program that glosses over the subject of sales negotiation. This is an in-depth, roll-up-your-sleeves, get-to-work learning system that teaches you how to negotiate against seasoned buyers. It teaches you how to demonstrate value, how to get out of the commodity box, and how to stop leaving money on the table. I've got a word here for the sales managers about places to use this and why it's different than anything on the market. This is a wonderful program for companies who would love to train their people to negotiate, but they don't have a large enough sales force to bring me in. It's wonderful for teams I've worked with that have added a few new members since we worked together, and you want to get these new people up to speed. It's a wonderful follow-up for teams that I've worked with live. It's the same time-tested principles and tactics that I've taught all over the world for 20 years, with two really important differences. It's broken down where salespeople have time to absorb it and practice between each segment, and they can watch it or listen to it as many times as they like. You know, our live sessions are great, but we cover so much, no one can take it all in and integrate it in one setting. So there you have it. It's a great program. It'll pay for itself by the second week, and after that, you're into profits. An important part of the program is the support. Every segment has a downloadable PDF workbook so salespeople can take notes and review them as they work their way through the program. Also, and this sets the program apart from anything on the market, every participant has access to me during the program via email for advice on implementing the tactics we discuss. This is key. So if you have members of your team that are leaving money on the table, my advice is to sign them up and get them trained. Every day you wait, they're leaving more of your money on the table. So that's what you're getting. Here's what you're not getting. You're not getting another ebook to clutter up the computer. You're not getting another software package to make your hard drive slower. You're not getting another manual to put on the shelf to gather dust. What you are getting is the highest, most useful content delivered in the most effective format anywhere. 12 spaced modules in a DVD or online action format that can be reviewed as often as necessary with the best support anywhere. So give us a call. Let's talk about you selling more business at higher margins.